Good evening and welcome to Information Please, your Peoria Public Library on the air. I'm bringing you information about your library and your community. This evening my guest is Katie Baumel, who's one of our librarians at Lakeview Branch, and she's coming on behalf of the many people who work with our teens to tell us about all the great programs we have coming up for those in the teenage group this winter, and this is kind of a new thing to have this much programming, so we're pretty excited. Hi, Katie.
Hi.
I'm glad I could get you away from what you're so busy doing that you do well, is helping people at the library. But you're going to kind of talk about programs that are going on at all our different locations. Yes. For us, because of course we can't bring everybody in here, because who would be there to help the patrons, right?
That's right.
So one of the first things we're doing is a lot of programs for kids who are thinking about college at this point. And we've got this series of college programs, and it's important. I've gotten 3 kids through this process, everything from shopping for colleges to filling out those forms that get you the money. So why don't you tell us a little bit about our first one? It happens already on December 17th.
First one is Free Money for College, which is at our Lincoln branch. And space, they're expecting a lot of teens to turn out for this, so they recommend calling since there's limited space. So call to make sure you get a spot. Mm-hmm. And it's just going to be a great program with finding out how they can get all this free money through different programs and assistance programs for college. And it's open to anyone who's a senior in high school, their parents, or any adults too who are going back to college.
Great, great. Well, that's good to know too. And I think so often people overlook all the sources, different sources there are for scholarships. I know that we found some pretty unique ones for my own children, and we're pretty successful applying for things. So it's good to know, especially if it's your first time or you've not been successful getting money, where you can get this stuff. Okay, then on January 7th, we've got College Savvy. What's that program all about?
College Savvy is actually a series I'm hoping to introduce at Lakeview. And so the first one, which is in January, is Visiting Colleges. It's going to be first in the College Savvy series that I'm excited about. And Deborah Clay is going to come. She actually goes around to several libraries promoting college programs. She's going to come talk to teens and their families, or again adults who want to go back to college, about how important it is to visit a college you're interested in, find out what's there, what's right for you, and that can help you narrow down if you're kind of torn between several. She's going to walk them through that process and also help them learn how to set up a college visit. And that'll be just in time for spring breaks that are coming up, that if they want to take a visit, they'll have this information prior to that.
Yeah, that's nice. And you know, of course, I did that too with 3 children, and we found, you know, a big difference in the colleges, whether you went with the group program or whether you arranged an individual tour. And I think that's different for every family and every child. I know just the way your kids react to things. And so hopefully this expert will help people decide which way to go. And you can visit colleges twice too.
Oh yeah, find out
that's a well-kept secret that you can, you know, that you can go more than once. And they do such a great job as a parent. They do such a great job now with the parents of keeping you busy so that the kids can go see things on their own and mom's not there nattering away in their ear. But it also is great information for parents on how to let go, because that is hard. Even no matter which child it is, first, second, third, fifth, it's still hard to have them then go off. And so those college visits are pretty darn important for parents too, I think. Okay, and on January 17th, FAFSA.
Yes, filing the FAFSA, which I remember filling out the FAFSA, and there's a lot, a lot of detail to that. So I think it's great that there's going to be one-on-one help for students and their parents at the Lincoln branch for that, to get that, here's what you need to fill out. and help them obtain information, because I remember that being a headache. So
Yes.
I think that'll be
and
a very
there may be a lot of
valuable.
people, I know I run into people all the time who go, what's FAFSA? So what does FAFSA, I always say it wrong too. It's FAFSA, FAFSA.
I can say FAFSA. I never remember the exact financial aid, the
federal,
whole, what it's the whole acronym for.
Yeah, it's federal aid, student something. I don't know.
But it is a great way to...
Yeah. Well, we should point out is why this is so important is because we looked at free money for college. You're not going to get any of that free money for college unless you fill that out.
Right.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand. I've run into parents who say, I make too much money, we're not going to get anything. But on the other hand, you can't even get the scholarship that's, based on achievement unless you fill this out. And sometimes, anything you're going to go for, you can't get unless you fill that out. And we always found that with the deadlines and all, it's great that you're doing this in January because you need to do your taxes.
Absolutely.
You need to have your taxes done before you can do it. You need to get all these code numbers, and you need to get
and remember
a PIN
codes
number
from the past.
Yeah, and I would say write those babies down and lock them away somewhere safe because when the parents got to get one, the kids got to get one.
There's at least 2 sets
of
codes
everything.
and pins.
and you have, and that alone can be overwhelming for people who don't do a lot of things online. But you have to do that. It's all done online. There's no way to do it on paper, and you have to enter it. And for people who don't have good computers or don't have good internet connections, that's what the library is there for. We have Wi-Fi. We have all those public computers, that you can come in and use. And, that's going to meet the solution for a lot of people because it is a lengthy thing. You can save it and come back to it, but I know we always had trouble with our internet connection out in the country, so it's a great thing to be able to come to the library and use the speedy Wi-Fi and the brand new computers.
And to get that one-on-one help, too.
Yeah, to get the one-on-one help and get that done. And so that is all important. But, okay, so after all that serious stuff about how to pay for college and get there and everything, we do have some fun in December. You've got teen movie nights.
Yes, teen movie nights. Our next one will be the 1989 Batman movie. So,
the old one.
Yeah, I was kind of looking at movies to show that maybe everyone's familiar with the current Batman, loves it. Everyone's familiar with how Iron Man, Superman's coming out soon. Everyone knows what they look like today, but it's like how many teens actually have gone back and watched where these films originated, how Batman was portrayed. So I thought 1989's Batman, maybe something different to see.
And show the old 60s TV show sometime.
I actually grew up watching that. So
in reruns, no doubt.
Yes, I would love to show that. I actually have a
Fortunately, I saw the originals, but
I could not miss that, and when my family went on vacation, I still had to watch the 1960s Adam West Batmans.
Yay. Well, we know I know I'm getting old when I'm now running into young people who don't know who the Beatles are. So, not surprising that teens may not have seen the 1989 Batman. And you do have light refreshments at this, too.
Yes,
and they're invited to bring their friends. And what time does it start?
It starts at 6 o'clock and runs slightly past 8 o'clock. So
in case they need a ride.
In case they need a ride. And they get there at 8 since we close at 8 and see the building's locked. We do have your teens.
We do have your teens safe inside, and you keep them. And so this one's at Lakeview, December 17th.
Yes.
And it's open and free. And
free.
Bring your friends and have some fun. All right. And then, jumping ahead to January, the Civil Rights Movie Marathon is on January 19th. And so what all is going to go on with that one?
It's going to be a big marathon starting at 11 in the morning, running until closing time with I don't have a list of all the movies, but different family-friendly movies that are really great at portraying civil rights. So, and I think it's great that it's all family-oriented so that you can bring everyone in the family. And everyone can get something out of it.
And where's that one at?
That's at our Lincoln branch.
At Lincoln Branch. Are they doing that in our wonderful balloon storytime room?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it sounds silly, the balloon storytime room, and it sounds like it for little kids, but the idea behind that room is that it's uplifting. The idea is up, and away. And so that really is a great place to show a civil rights movie marathon. Plus, the room is perfect for movies because you can make it completely dark, and it's got the digital projection and the big screen, and so it just works really, really well for something like that. Okay, and one of the things we've always promoted is summer reading, and that's always been very popular with our grade school kids and parents. And one of the groups that's not that big on it sometimes are the teens. But the other thing is we don't have any promotion for reading in the winter until now.
Right.
Now we have teen winter reading. And what is this program going to be?
It's running from now through January 6th, and anyone in grades 6 through 12, so nice big age range of teens, can submit a book review for a book they read during this time, and you can submit up to 4. And on January 10th, there's going to be a prize drawing, so 4 chances you get up to, so great opportunity to read 4 books over your winter break, submit a book review for each book you read, and get an entry for each book review.
That's great. Yeah, I know. Is there a form to fill out, or do you have, how do they find the
It's going on at all locations, so you can stop
Okay.
by any branch or a different branch each time and check out their collections. And there's a form that you can fill out for your review.
That's just ready to go, and so you don't
Yes.
have to reinvent the wheel. It'll tell you exactly
Right.
what information you have to provide. Yeah, and I know winter break, a lot of kids it's their chance to finally read what they want to read, to immerse themselves. I remember devouring a book in a day, all during break, and I know there's still a lot of bookworms out there that do that. So this is great. It's a great chance to put all that reading to good use, and parents sometimes worry, if kids are reading graphic novels or something, but any reading you do improves your ability to learn, your literacy abilities, and expand your knowledge of things, because even stuff like science fiction, people say, why are you reading that stuff? But the thing is, that's the kind of stuff that lets teens dream and think of things that are possible. And there's always discussions about modern inventions that have come out of science fiction. And all it takes is going back and looking at some of those old movies and to see, do we have this now because somebody thought, saw it in this movie. Somebody dreamed it up. Yeah. And then another new thing that you were doing, I believe, is the Teen Book Club. And this is the first time in many a year we've had a book club for teens. And you're going to talk about our 2 books for January and February. So we've got The Lost Code up here.
January is The Lost Code by Kevin Emerson, and it's kind of an adventure, and it might have elements, I haven't actually read it yet, it might have elements of some fantasy, but it's mostly just straight adventure, and it was chosen by some of our teens who have been to previous book clubs, so it's exciting that they get to vote on what books they want, and they wanted an adventure story, so...
Book clubs have gotten so popular with people throughout society. We're seeing more and more of them all the time. How do the teens react to this format of everybody read the same book and then talk about it?
I think they like it because it's something, they don't have to come to this. They don't have to read this book, whereas in school, you have to read it and talk about it. So to find someone else reading the same book as you that you're choosing to read, they seem to really like that there's someone else they can talk to, and then meeting people who aren't necessarily at school with them, but who's reading this book and that they're all choosing to, they seem to really like that.
How many people, I know you just started this year.
So it's not very big yet.
Yeah, it's just slowly growing. We find that with so many of our programs, that it starts out smaller and grows, and so that's why we try and stick with things, because we know as people hear about them, they'll enjoy coming more.
Yeah, it's slowly growing and seeing different people come different months, which I think I've told them at the last one, it's okay if you read a book and don't like it. You can still come. You can say you don't like the book, and chances are there may be someone else who didn't like it but didn't want to admit it. And it's okay to disagree and have different opinions. So I think that will help bring people back that, or even if you didn't finish the book because it just wasn't your taste, that's fine.
I think that
maybe
happens
next
a
time
lot
there will be.
in adult book clubs too, that people don't get through the book, but they still enjoy the discussion, and it might encourage them to go on and finish it, or they might say, "Oh, I'm done with this." And that's the other thing. I think kids in school have been taught, if you start it, you've got to finish this book. But with fiction, I always felt that if I started a book, I had to finish it. And then I started meeting people, particularly at book clubs, that said, no, if you get to page 50 and you're not into it, you don't have to finish that book. And what a relief, what permission. So it's great. I think parents should understand, and that the library can really broaden kids' horizons. That's our goal, is to broaden their horizons, introduce them to things.
You tried it. If it wasn't for you, you still tried it.
It's like vegetables. But no, much more. And great way to find new authors that you might not have ever occurred to you to read. And if you're always reading the exact same thing, and it's, you run out of books after a while.
Right.
And learn something new. Okay, and then in February, you've got this book,
Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor, which I also haven't read yet, so I like that they've picked titles I've heard of, but I haven't read, so I can read it with them.
The kids are running the show.
Yes, and this one's gotten lots of critical reviews from teens, parents, teachers, and book reviewers, so I'm excited to read it. And the sequel's out now, so if they absolutely love it, they can get their hands on the next book immediately.
And when and where does this book club meet again?
It's at Lakeview Branch, and with the exception of January, it's the first Wednesday of every month, but with New Year's in there, we switched it up in January.
Okay.
But it's from 5 to 6, most likely the first Wednesday of the month.
Okay, and they don't have to call, they can just walk in.
They can just show up, and snacks and drinks are provided here too. And if they need help getting a copy of the book, they can call any of our branches and we can place a hold for pickup anywhere, and they don't have to pick it up at Lakeview just because the book club meets there.
Yeah, they could pick it up out at North or Lincoln or wherever's convenient. Anywhere. That's great. Or even if Mom works in Morton, you can.
Right.
It's easiest for her to pick up a book at Morton. She can do that for you. Okay, and then here's an event I don't know anything about. Blind date with a book in February.
That is something that, as far as I know, has never been done at Peoria, and it's happening at Lincoln, and I think it's a great idea. So I'll probably be trying to do something at Lakeview similar. But from February 1st to 15th for grades 6 on up, there will be books chosen from our J collection, YA collection, and books that are appropriate for all ages. And they're going to be wrapped up so you can't tell what is in the package. But you can check it out. It's going to have a barcode, so you can still use the self-check, and you don't know what you're getting. So kind of like going on that blind date with a person, but with a book, and you may get a book you never would have thought to try if you'd seen it on the shelf.
Seen the cover, you wouldn't have picked it up off the shelf. And it's a great time for a blind date because it's leading up to Valentine's Day, of course. And so the whole idea of this is then they just read the book and that's it. Do they do any reporting or discussion or
you can
talking about it?
You find that, wow, I really love this book and I've never heard of it, never would have tried it. You can share those thoughts with the library staff. But I think that's really an exciting, something exciting and different that's not been done before. And
it's like a surprise grab bag kind of a thing.
It's something that I would have wanted to do as a teen.
Yeah, a blind date with a book. Yeah, it's probably something that adults wouldn't mind doing either.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, and of course we have a newer, just joined our staff I think last summer, Megan at Lincoln Branch, and she also knows a lot about art, and she's doing art in the library, and she's been doing that on a monthly basis. She's had quite a few programs already. And what's she doing in January?
January is Op Art, make sure I said that right, Op Art Hands. And she sent me a picture of what it looks like, and it looks really cool, almost 3D. And they're going to learn how to draw this which amazes me because I don't think I could do
Yeah.
it. But different lines and how you draw the lines with some waves can look like an actual hand resting on a table. And so I'm sure there's other poses too.
Yeah.
But I think it looks really neat.
And that's a great opportunity for kids. I mean, they get some art in school, but you almost, by the time you're a teen, you're almost getting to the point where you have to be enrolled in art class in school.
Right.
You're not going to get any art. Park District and the museum have classes, but those are often difficult for people to get to. So this is an absolutely great opportunity from a great teacher to be able to just stop into the library and learn something about art. It's free. You can express your creativity, do something you've never ever done. And in February, and I've got a picture up here with the duct tape flowers, and I looked these up and thought, what do you make flowers? Of course, I make prom dresses out of.
Right, wallets.
And maybe wallets, all kinds of stuff. Maybe these are the corsages for prom. I don't know. But duct tape flowers, and we've got an example here, and they certainly don't look like duct tape.
No, and that's also perfect for Valentine's
Yeah,
Day. Kind of go to school, give your friends a duct tape flower.
Yeah.
That won't actually grow old.
Yeah. And I think part of the exciting thing is duct tape comes in so many varieties and prints, and it's just become a big hobby item at this point.
I found a lot of books at the library now that are about duct tape creation. And
what to do with them. Yeah. So, Megan's going to go over that with kids, and that one's on February 12th at Lincoln Branch as well. And so that's going to be a lot of fun. And then, of course, there's always more programs. These are the ones for teens, which we have never, since I've been at the library, never had this many programs for teens. And so I think it's a great thing, because with lifelong learning, we get the little kids for story time, we get the kids that need something for report, and then by the time they're teens, they start to not want to be at the library. Although, dating myself once again, we used to all go to the library to be able to see your boyfriend or girlfriend, because we didn't have the internet. And we had to walk 10 miles in the snow to school. No. but it's true. It's great for kids to have a reason to be back at the library and find out what a wonderful place it is. And what we talk about, all these programs and all these things, but still so much of the main function of the library, the thing we check out the most, the thing that is so popular, is just plain old books. And so what sort of books and that kind of thing do we have out there that the teens are reading? What kind of things are they drawn to these days?
All kinds. It seems like right now the big thing is still a lot of fantasy, sci-fi, paranormal. That's really big. But pretty much anything in our YA collection, they will go straight there and look for books. And our Abe list that I know we have available on the desk at Lakeview, and I think some other places do, they'll ask for that because it has a great variety of 22 books that are really popular this year, and teens can actually vote for them too. So it's a teen choice award, which I think they also like, but it covers everything. There's always like a love story for those looking for the romance. There's always adventure, paranormal, horror, dystopia, and it covers everything. So a lot of our reluctant readers who want a good read but don't know what they want, but know what type of story they like, they'll go to that list.
Great. And so do you think you have an equal amount of young men and young women coming in and reading, or is it lean mostly towards the girls?
I think anymore it's leaning towards pretty equal, whereas I think in the past probably more female, but now with all the books that are geared right towards young adults, it seems like they're more equal. And even with certain books now with a strong female character, boys will read that because it's not just some really girly girl they can't relate to.
Nail polishing bows.
Right.
Now we got ones like, our Katniss Everdeen in The Hunger Games, who I think any guy would not be offended or feel it was too girly to read about Katniss Everdeen.
Yeah. And now Divergent is becoming, by Veronica Roth, is kind of becoming the next Hunger Games, which also has a really, really strong female character named Triss, and I feel like any boy could read that and not be like, I can't read this.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if these kids who are teens now, they grew up with the world of Harry Potter and now the Hunger Games, and I think they're Twilight. So there's been such a strong resurgence of the YA novels, and I know so many people in their 20s and housewives, and I think that people pick them up for their kids and start reading them, or if teachers in school run into them, and those stories appeal to a lot broader range than just teens. But the thing about them is they're okay for teens to read. They're not too provocative. They're not, and that may be why adults like them too, because there's so much out there that they just are overwhelmed by and don't want to read. So you mentioned one I hadn't heard of, Divergent, and what is there more than one of those books out? Is it a series?
There's 2 books currently out, and the third one is coming out. It's anticipated for fall 2013, and the title's not released of it either. But I'm really looking forward to that, and I know I've met a lot of teens in the library who that seems to be.
Is this another dystopian story?
It is, and it takes place in Chicago, well, what was Chicago, Illinois, so that's kind of
interesting.
Close
to home.
Yes.
People may have been to Chicago.
And the author's from Illinois, up near Chicago, and her husband's from Peoria. So.
Wow, okay, and can we get them here? If she's too big?
Another coworker of mine, we've met her, and so we're kind of like, you should come to Peoria Public.
That would be great, wouldn't it?
It would be, because she's really becoming quite famous and has that tie-in to Peoria.
Yeah, that's the problem, is unfortunately we don't have the funding and aren't big enough to bring in big authors, like the author of Twilight or Harry Potter, certainly, or whatever. Although we did have a video showing with J.K. Rowling, who of course wrote the Harry Potter books, and that was fun to be able to do that. Well, Katie, thank you so much. I know you guys are staying so busy with all the stuff you do, but I'm glad you could take time, because I think these programs are great, and I hope parents will get their kids in there, and I hope kids like hearing about them and will come on in. So thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
You want to make sure and check our calendar so you don't miss any of our great programs, because we do have programs from all ages, from the tiny little ones that sit on mom's lap and learn to clap hands, all the way up to our seniors who may be interested in movie marathons on Friday morning, or history programs we have. We have another great music in the Mackenzie program going on all next year. Those are on Sunday afternoons at the North Branch. So check, and we'll see you next week on Information Please.